Good Omens is based on the epic bestseller by the late great Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. It's sort of a perfect pairing of writers and friends, which only adds to the story, which follows a demon and angel who've been best friends since, well, the beginning. The series had a lot to live up to. Good Omens is the favorite book of many people, and it's one of those novels that you tend to lend out or give away to share it, and then can't stand to go without it, so you go and buy another copy, and then another, and another. I personally have at least 3. Aziraphale and Crowley are amazing characters, and the story that they are the center of is one that deals with humanity, religion, friendship, and identity. It's a big story with a lot going on, but Pratchett and Gaiman weave it so perfectly that it never gets bogged down in being too serious, even though it is, or preachy, while it tackles some pretty heavy subjects. When word came out that a live-action version of the series was happening, fans were overjoyed. Neil Gaiman himself took on the role of scripting and being the showrunner, ensuring the spirit of Terry Pratchett was within the heart of the show and that it lived up to the novel he helped create. Gaiman had never done anything like this before, but with how perfect the series is, you'd never guess it. Directed by Douglas MacKinnon, the man responsible for some of my favorite Doctor Who episodes, including The Husbands of River Song, Good Omens is everything a fan of the book could want. First, let's talk about casting, which allows me to share this picture of David Tennant and Michael Sheehan. Let us bask in this together, and please ignore any sounds I may make that might remind you of Homer Simpson ogling a donut. Oh, sorry. The casting of Aziraphale and Crowley was some of the most important in the show. You needed to believe these two, and they needed to be inherently likable, as well as embody the characters. And these two are spot on. Not only had they both been up for the role of Doctor Who at the same time, at least if you believe David Tennant, but they are amazing actors. Aziraphale and Crowley are the odd couple and best friends for the ages, and it works so well. One is prissy and perfect as could be. Sheehan is a chameleon who can go from a werewolf to David Frost in the blink of an eye. And Tennant brings a rock and roll edge and tragic sweetness to the demon who's gone native. You know Tennant can turn on the evil at the drop of a hat as well, for those who have seen Bad Samaritan and, of course, Jessica Jones. The rest of the casting is perfect too, with a list of British talent like Miranda Richardson, Derek Jacobi, and Brian Cox, taking over from the late Christopher Lee as the voice of Death. Sprinkled throughout are short bits for big talent like Reese Shearsmith, Benedict Cumberbatch, and David Morrissey. There are Yanks in the cast too, of course, with Michael McKean as Witchfinder Shadwell, Frances McDormand as the voice of God, Nick Offerman, and John Hamm, of course. McKinnon and Gaiman come together to create a beautifully shot rendition of the book that looks so lovely. It's almost got the look of a fairy tale, and within it has so many scenes that you're just surprised to see, even if you've not read the novel. One thing that really stood out for me while savoring every episode, we've only got 6, so really savor them, is the way Gaiman is able to balance the comedy with the serious, the horrific with the hilarious, and the morality with the madcap. If I were to choose one part that truly showcased this, it would be when we see a large swath of the history between Aziraphale and Crowley, and when they are both on hand for the crucifixion of Jesus. There are no punches pulled here with the horror of how a crucifixion is done. Aziraphale and Crowley are having their usual banter, but interlaced is the seriousness and sadness of what is occurring, and Crowley's question of what Jesus did to wind up there. He told them to be kind to one another, to which Crowley states, "Yeah, that'll do it." We're also shown the duo outside of the Ark while Noah is gathering the animals. It is here that Crowley is flabbergasted while Aziraphale tells him what God's plan is. "That sounds like something our side would do," says a disgusted Crowley. Good Omens is not afraid to question or call attention to the contradictions within religion. Aziraphale and Crowley, within the story and the series, are observers who simply want to enjoy the world and what it has to offer. They want to protect it and the humanity that has created it. Good Omens calls out the idiocy and waste of war and the absurdity of it. This is of course shown in both the angels and demons that are trying so hard to usher in the apocalypse because someone needs to win. There's a sarcasm but also a lot of hope and heart. The mixture, just like Aziraphale and Crowley themselves, Adam Young, the Antichrist, and them, his group of friends, are also a bright light within this. Adam personifies the fight against what is expected of you and going your own way. The scenes with him and them are both fairly frightening and touching. There's no lack of horror, no lack of fantasy, no lack of science fiction within it either. You've got aliens, Atlantis, demons turning into masses of maggots and devouring humans. Gaiman is a master, though, of putting he and Pratchett's masterpiece into a perfectly balanced story where it all works. I truly love this short series, and I know the fans of the book will love it as well. Sheehan and Tennant are spectacular in the lead roles, and will soon take over your internal vision of what Crowley and his angel counterpart look like, I have no doubt. There's also no doubt in my mind that this will be a gangbuster of a hit worldwide. It makes me wonder if Gaiman will actually write the sequel that was spoken about years ago in screenplay form. 668, Neighbor of the Beast, is a follow-up, but after seeing how beautifully this worked out, I'm hoping Amazon will jump at the chance to produce at least the Sandman series. Good Omens lived up to my expectations on every level, and they were very high. A+ on every count. Save that it's only 6 episodes, but there's nothing to be done about that. There's only the one book. I just hope Amazon is ready for the amount of strain the streaming is going to cause on their servers.